Surface Go 2, is it worth it? Let's talk about it. What's up YouTube, Mike here with another video, and today I wanted to talk about the Microsoft Surface Go 2. Right now my dog is running all over the place, so the camera's probably going to shake and there'll be odd noises. But anyways, let's get into it. So, you may or may not have seen my original video where I reviewed the original Surface Go. I gave it a positive review. I was really happy with that device. My only complaint with that device kind of carries over to this one, but we'll talk about it. And obviously, I've got a D-brand skin on here. They only come in one color, which is the magnesium variant. But let's talk about the build quality of this real quick, because that is by far one of its defining features. I mean, this thing is essentially, it's just a mini Surface Pro. So you still got the infinite kickstand where you can go pretty much any angle you want, down to almost flat. So it's really nice for drawing or taking notes if you use this configuration. But going around this thing, obviously, it's the exact same ports as the original Surface Go, and that's so a lot of the accessories will work that some companies have already made. So you do get the headphone jack, the USB-C port, non-Thunderbolt, and then of course the Surface Connect port, which I actually really like. I use this with the Surface Dock 2, which I'll show you. Then on the top you've got your volume rockers, your power button, and on the opposite side you've got nothing. So ports again are a little slim, but you also have a micro SD card slot underneath the kickstand so you can expand your storage. So talking about the storage, the specs of this thing, there's been a bunch of videos on this, but this is the Core M3 model. This one comes with 8 GB of RAM. There is a lower model, which I'm not going to talk about because I honestly don't think you should buy that. It's the Pentium Gold models, so honestly I would stay away from those. So if you've got the extra money, I would go with this one, because right now these are on sale for $549, so not too shabby for what you can get. But again, it's got 8 GB of RAM. Again, it's got the Core M3, the Intel, which is really quite capable. It works very well. I've had zero complaints with performance on this thing. As far as the display of this thing, it is a 10.5-inch display, so it's a little bit larger than it was with the first generation. Not much, but it does make a bit of a difference. So I do like the bigger display. However, I do wish the bezels were still smaller. To me, the bezels are still kind of a negative on this thing. Now, this has got obviously a front and a rear camera. They're not, mind-blowing, but you got an 8-megapixel rear camera, 5-megapixel front camera. I'll show you some stuff from the front camera real quick. All right, this is a quick video test of the front-facing camera of the Surface Go 2. Also audio. Right now my air conditioner is running, so it's probably going to pick that up, but I think the picture quality looks really good. So this would be good for Skype, Duo, whatever app you like to use, or even like a YouTube Live. So pretty cool. As far as the rear camera, it's perfectly adequate. You can shoot 1080p video with this thing, 60 frames a second or 30 frames with the front-facing camera, but obviously you're not going to use this for like your primary camera. But it's great if you want to scan documents into OneNote or just snap a quick pic, or if you're like a real estate agent, you want to send something to a client, it's perfect for that. And again, with any Surface, whether it be this or a Surface Pro, the Surface Pen, which is not included, still works. It works great. Microsoft has continued over every generation to refine this. I mean, it really, really works great. It's a great drawing, writing experience. Originally, when the Surfaces kind of first started to come about, you'd always have that little line jitter when you draw a slow line. I could not perceive any of that. So writing, drawing, inking is still fantastic, just like it was with the first Surface Go. So as far as if you're into inking, drawing, there's going to be no difference in the pen when it comes to this or say the Surface Pro 7. So you're definitely going to be happy with the pen. Now again, it is a separate accessory, just like the keyboard. So if you happen to have a first generation Surface Go, then your keyboard is still going to work. So this is actually one that I've had for a while for the first gen, but I picked this one up on Amazon renewed for like 40 bucks. So you can find deals on the keyboard and the pen really easily. I'll put a couple links in the description, but this really, I think, is an incredible value, and people are going to knock it and say for the price, you know, once you buy the accessories, you can buy whatever, a full laptop or an iPad or whatever. I'm not going to compare this to an iPad because it's really a separate category. I mean, this is a full PC. You can run full programs, and it's fantastic at that. Now, again, with the type cover, I mean, it's just as fantastic as the first gen. I mean, this is the Alcantara. I've got relatively big hands, but I can type on this thing without any problems. It is also backlit. The touchpad is glass, and it works well. All the gestures, no complaints whatsoever. So real quick, let's talk about the price again. So like I said, this is currently on sale on the Microsoft website for $549. So again, pretty freaking good because you can get the type cover. If you search Amazon, eBay, whatever, you can find these on sale. So if you were to pay full price on the Microsoft website, it's going to be about $130 for the type cover and like $100 for the pen. So again, just look around, look on Amazon, Craigslist, whatever, but you can find deals on these. And if you happen to be an owner of a previous Surface Go, that type cover will work. And if you've got a Surface pen laying around from whenever, it will also work. So in my case, like I said, I've had this pen for a couple years now, so I just had an extra Surface pen. So obviously that didn't cost me anything, and I got this type cover on Amazon Renewed for $40. So all in for me, I'm in $600 for the Core M3, 128 gigabytes of storage and 8 gig of RAM model, and I think it is fantastic. My complaint with the storage is that it's only available in a 128 gigabyte model. I'm not sure why they did that. It would really be nice to have at least a 256 gigabyte model option. I don't know why they downscaled it. With the original Surface Go, you were able to get it in 256 gigabytes. But with this, they left it at 128 gigabytes. But yes, you can put the micro SD card in there, which is expandable up to, I think it's 1 terabyte, but it's never going to be as fast as the internal SSD. But again, most people do a lot of their stuff in the cloud nowadays, so it's got not a huge deal, but still, it's there. Wish it was a larger hard drive. Now, my other complaint on this device is the exact same complaint that I had with the original, and that is battery life. It was really not that great with the original. You could get, depending on what you're doing, maybe 5 to 7 hours, sometimes less, and it's really no change with this. I haven't noticed an increase with battery, neither have I noticed a decrease with the Core M3. But with my usage, I always leave it on recommended power setting, and I leave the brightness at about 60%, and I'm getting, again, between 5 to 7 hours depending on what I'm doing. And this does have some quirks where sometimes the battery will even be beyond 7. It'll just, I'll be doing web browsing, watching YouTube, and that's pretty much it. And it'll actually do quite well. But some days I'll be doing that exact same thing, and the battery will be like 4 hours. So it's just, I don't know if there's something in the background that was draining it, but it's kind of hit or miss. But overall, I think for solid average is going to be 5 to 7 hours, which if you've obviously got a charger or whatever, an external battery pack, which you can use with this, which is a positive with the USB-C, that's not a big deal. I mean, but to me, that is the biggest negative on this device is the battery life. But I would definitely still recommend it. And obviously, I skinned this one, so I'm going to keep it because I really like it. Currently, this is actually my only PC that I have. If you've watched my channel, you've seen that I reviewed the Surface Pro X, which I liked, but there were still some limitations with the ARM chip. And I actually prefer this over the Surface Pro X, even though the battery life was better on the Surface Pro X. But this has currently been my only PC now for about a month, and it's done everything I've asked it to do. So talking about back to the positives is the performance of this thing. This performance has been excellent for the Core M3. It's done everything that I've asked it to do. I'll show you a demo. Like I said, I use this with the Surface Dock 2. Not required. There's a lot of other docks out there, or you can just use a USB-C dock. But with the Surface Dock 2, obviously it frees up my other ports, and it's made by Microsoft for Microsoft products, specifically for the Surface line, and it just works really well. So as you can see, I mean, I've used this no issues. It'll run 4K YouTube videos. It doesn't slow down. I can have multiple windows open, running an external monitor, and it just keeps trucking. Like, there's not been any task that I've personally done that this thing has not been able to handle. Now, a lot of people are going to ask the stupid questions. Can you game on this? This is called the Surface Go. Now, that means it's meant for portability. It's meant to be an ultralight PC. It's not meant for gaming. It's not meant for video editing. Now, there are videos on YouTube where people have like cranked down the settings to as low as possible and been able to play some games on this. Now, if you're going to play some games at a Windows store like your Asphalt 8, whatever, it's going to work just fine. But as far as hardcore PC gaming, I would definitely skip it. But with the different cloud gaming options coming, this is actually going to be a good option. And you could actually stream stuff from your Xbox if you wanted to as well. So obviously you're going to be limited by your internet connection, not the hardware inside with a lot of the new cloud gaming. So really that's not an issue anymore as far as hardware. But I have also seen videos of people doing photo and video editing. If you're going to use Adobe Lightroom, this will 100% edit photos with no issue. From what I've seen people edit 4K video on this. Now, your render times are going to take forever, but it'll do it. But I think if you want to use this for a little mobile editing laptop and you're just shooting, say, in 1080p using Adobe Premiere Pro, then this will actually do pretty well, and I think you would be happy with it. But once you start getting into 4K, then it's going to obviously chug along, it's going to slow down, and it's going to use a lot of battery when you're doing those kind of tasks as well. So if you're going to do that, you're going to want to be plugged in and use the max performance battery setting or performance setting. All right, so like I said, I had the first Surface Go and I was a huge fan of it. I really liked it, but at the end of the day, I ended up returning it, mostly because just the battery life was kind of a downer. And again, the battery life on this is, like I said, not much better, but at the same time, the performance on this one is noticeably faster than the original. So I've been using this as my only PC, like I said. So when I'm at the house, I'll usually come home and dock it when I'm in my office here and use the Surface Dock 2, and it works great. And I take this to work with me because it just fits in my bag. It's very portable. And based on what I do on it and how long I use it, this does get me through a full work day. But the good thing is, like I said, this has the USB Type-C port that you can also charge through, and I've got a little battery bank that I use to top it up if I need it, and it works really well. For me, the battery limitation is not a problem. Like I said, 5 to 7 hours. For most people, I don't see you sitting on a device for that long a time without having access to a charger or a battery, but maybe you do, maybe that's you. But for me, this has been a perfect device. I'm really happy with it. So especially for the price, like I said, $549. You can find the accessories if you don't buy them through Microsoft for way cheaper than what they're selling them for. So all in all, I mean, you can get this whole package for $600 pretty easily if you shop around. And for $600, this thing is a killer deal. So if you compare this to an iPad, which I said I wasn't going to do, there's no comparison because, again, this is a full PC. So if you need desktop programs, this is what you want. And especially if you're a student, I think this will be perfect for you. But again, I like it. I like the portability of it. I like the versatility. So when I get home, I can dock it and I've got a desktop PC and it works as it should. It's fast. It's as powerful as I need it to be. So no complaints there. So with that, if you guys have any questions on this device, make sure you drop it in the comments below and I will do my best to answer it. And as always, if you want to see when I drop new videos, make sure you hit that notification bell. And if you've not subscribed, I would appreciate if you do so. Thanks. Juno, go away. No. What do you want? Will you stop it? I love you, but you're being a butt.